on, want to bring on our next guest, and it's our esteemed councilman, and that's Eric Ulrich. Eric, how are you?
Ed, it's always good to be with you, and I'm sorry I couldn't be with you last week, but I wanted to call in and obviously talk to you about a lot of things going on in the community, but also bring to your attention and your listeners' attention that we did pass another on-time balanced budget about 2 weeks ago in the City Council. It was a late night. We actually had to go back the next day. We expanded a lot of vital services that people in the community really rely on for senior centers, after-school programs, library services, and we didn't raise property taxes, which I think is significant. We also included for the first time in more than a few years a Veterans Initiative. And as you know, I'm the chairman of the Veterans Committee, so veterans issues are very important to me. Veterans in our city are now going to have better access to good-paying jobs, quality mental health services, free legal assistance, and a host of other services and things that, quite frankly, they weren't receiving before and that the city was not supporting financially. So there's a lot of good stuff in the budget. Now, locally, for Woodhaven, in addition to funding all the groups that I'm very proud to fund, like the School Sisters of Notre Dame, like the Woodhaven Historical Society, like Works Little League, we did invest a significant amount of money in a lot of the quality of life concerns that people have. So, for instance, the Graffiti Initiative will be back. It is now funded through the Queens Economic Development Corporation. We expect to get that up and running in the next month, maybe less.
Excellent.
And it will go out for bid, and it will be done the way it needs to be done. But that will be a very robust, aggressive quality of life program that we are going to kick off, and I'll have more details regarding that during the week. Now, Jamaica Avenue will see significant improvement, not only because the borough president and I funded a complete street light replacement and upgrade along Jamaica Avenue, LED lights. That is going to make a big difference. But in the short term, I put in, I think, $30,000 or $40,000. You got to check online in supplemental sanitation. So there will be a third day of litter basket service on Jamaica Avenue from Dexter Court all the way down to Lefferts Boulevard. That is going to make a big difference. And what I'm even happier about is that we will be purchasing brand new high-end litter baskets for Jamaica Avenue.
Beautiful.
They're really fancy, really nice. They have that little hole at the top so they discourage illegal dumping, but it's going to be a significant upgrade, and people are going to notice the difference right away. So there's a lot of good stuff in the budget for the people of Woodhaven that they will see their tax dollars being put to good use.
Fantastic. Thank you, Eric. I think it's all good news, and it sounds really good. We're really interested, and as soon as you have info on the the Graffiti Initiative, we're going to be talking about that at our meeting next week, because we see it getting out of hand again, and we want to encourage people to start reporting it. So this is fantastic. Can you tell us a bit about what the program is going to be like?
So the program will mirror the one that we had previously, although this one will be more effective because the new person who is administering, the new organization who is administering this program is going to be able to hold the vendor more accountable, is going to be able to pay the vendor quickly or more quickly. So I don't think we're going to have these gaps where we used to have 5 or 6 weeks in between the graffiti maintenance, the monthly maintenance that we used to have. Atlantic Avenue, Woodhaven Boulevard into Cross Bay Boulevard, Rockaway Boulevard, in Ozone Park, 101st Avenue where my office is. For a long time, we're graffiti-free, and we did a very good job of staying on top of the situation. But in the past year and a half, I've been very, very disappointed in the program, and that's why I reappropriated the money, and I put it, I think, in a better place. And I think that the new people who are going to administer this program for us, there will be, they're going to do a good job of overseeing the monthly maintenance program, but what I'd really like to see is a stronger constituent services component of this. What I mean by that is that if someone in Woodhaven who lives on 87th Street or someone in Ozone Park on 90th Street or wherever in my district they might live, if their garage was tagged or if the brick front of their house was vandalized by graffiti vandal, I want that money to pay for that to be cleaned up a lot more expeditiously than it would take for someone to call 311. I really want us to be ground zero for getting rid of graffiti, for eradicating it from our community, and just wiping this problem out, and then staying on top of it, because unfortunately, there is recidivism, and we want to stay on top of it. But it has gotten out of hand. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You drive down Woodhaven Boulevard, and you see the evidence right there. For a long time, that was graffiti-free. The past year and a half, I think people have let it go. And I will say this, though. As much money that we do spend on this, people should still take responsibility for their own properties. This is not to discourage anyone from painting their own fences, from power washing their own properties. I think that if every landlord and every property owner was as responsible as you and I, we wouldn't need a graffiti program. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and that means that we have to have this program so that the community and the rest of us don't have to suffer from looking at this stuff every day.
Now, one of the things I've always told people, and we've done this from year to year, and I've told them, I said, look, if you're in your travels, you see a house that's tagged, call 311, report it right away. Try and do it. Try and get in the habit of doing it. Once or twice a week. I said if we had 40 or 50 people, which is less than a third of our membership, if we had those people just doing that twice a week, at the end of the summer, you'd have 300-400 properties that have been scheduled to be cleaned. Now, with this new program, is it still legit to tell people to call 311?
Yes. This does not prevent anyone from doing anything on their own or calling 311. You can still call 311. And by the way, there are times that I've called 311 to report graffiti, and the mayor's anti-graffiti initiative, which is funded through EDC, they've come out. But it takes them about a month. You have to get a waiver.
Right.
Sometimes you don't have to get a waiver. It's crazy. This program is a rapid response, aggressive, graffiti removal. This will be meant to supplement everything else that everyone else is doing, because the more people we have out there cleaning graffiti and cleaning up the community, the better. When you drive down Jamaica Avenue 6 months from now, and you see how clean it is, you see the new garbage pails, you see the new lights starting to be put in, you see no graffiti, and by the way, a seamless garment going from Woodhaven all the way into Richmond Hill, you are going to notice a difference. That is going to have a multiplying effect that is going to help the community and the people living in those communities. So I think that, graffiti, I think, is not only an eyesore, but it's also very offensive in a very personal way to a lot of people. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's how I got my start getting involved in the community. And it's something that I want people to remember me for one day when I'm gone, that was a problem that I helped address.
Well, as I said, it's great news. It sounds all really, really positive, and just getting that budget taken care of. That's a battle each year, so it must be a relief to have that out of the way.
It's a budget that it's a dance. We call it the budget dance. The council and the mayor have different priorities. Look, I'll bring it up again, and I know you and I have talked about it on your show before. I believe we need more cops. I've said that for 3 or 4 years now. I think that we are at dangerous levels at the NYPD. I don't think we have enough police personnel to give people not only the security and the sense of public safety that they deserve, but also the peace of mind of knowing that they live in a safe community. I talk to constituents all the time who believe and agree with me that we need more cops. The council was very, very strict and forceful on that issue. The mayor, for whatever reason, and I know he's entitled to his opinion, his reasons, he disagreed. He did not want to put more cops in the budget. Well, we didn't put more cops in the budget because he didn't want them. We wanted 1,000 more cops because we knew we could have put them in every precinct across the city. And now, of course, we saw a spike in shootings last weekend, the weekend before. And what does the mayor do? He reassigns 200 cops that are on desk duty and puts them out on the street. Well, that's a great idea. I don't disagree with that. I think it's a step in the right direction. But I think we had an opportunity to do more. I think we had a chance, and that was during the budget process, to really make a difference, to get more cops in the academy, get them trained, graduate them, and have them go throughout the 5 boroughs. By the way, these 200 cops that are being reassigned are only going to public housing, which need them badly. I don't want to take away from them, and the subways, which is also a concern that a lot of people have. But we are not getting in the 102nd precinct or in the 106th precinct or in the 100th precinct in Rockaway. We are not getting any more police personnel. And so it is still taking the police officers in our precinct the same amount of time to respond to 911 and 311 complaints that people have. And the people that I talk to and the people that I represent are really not happy with the current level of police protection that they have, and they want more cops on the street.
Yeah, listen, I think we're hearing that from our residents for sure. I mean, there was an article in this week's paper detailing some of the frustrations. You know, one of our residents expressed at our last meeting about, you know, situation over by Atlantic and Rockaway, and I was just on the phone with her earlier tonight, and the situation there tonight. She said it's, you know, it's worse than ever, and you know, calling 911 and then seeing it just wait, you know, 45 minutes to an hour, no one showing up, leaves people very, very frustrated. And you know, and I think it leaves them feeling like the police don't care. And I know that's not the case. I think we're sympathetic to the shortfall that they have, but when you're dealing with problems and you're frustrated, you know, then frustration turns to anger. You know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think we have the best police department in the world. I think we have some of the finest cops in the city serving our community. What I'm saying is we don't have enough of them.
Yeah,
and that's my only criticism of the mayor and of the administration regarding public safety, aside from the fact that he made a very political issue out of stop and frisk, but that's a whole other issue. I don't want to get into that. The point is that I think we need more cops on the beat, patrolling the streets, driving around, walking on Jamaica Avenue, and maintaining law and order in our community. I'm not saying that we're living in the Wild West, and I'm not saying that we're going back to the days of the 80s and 90s when you had the drug and the gang epidemics. We certainly don't. Nobody wants to see that. But we have made such historic gains in reducing crimes to record lows in the city. We can only hope that we can make greater gains and drive crime even lower. But the only way we're going to do that is if we have enough cops on the street. And right now, in my opinion, and people can disagree with me, the mayor can disagree with me, I don't think we have enough.
No, I totally agree with you there. On another issue, I guess this is something that's concerning us, and I'm not looking for answers on this because I know there really aren't any. The latest that we've heard on the building next to the ambulance corps is that, you know, it's still tied up in court, and the next date is actually coming up this week. I believe it's the 17th. The process is dragging out. And listen, you know, there's part of me that's fully understanding. We don't want the city just to be able to come and take over somebody's property and knock down a building because they feel it's the right thing to do. You know, it's got to go through the court. So we understand that, but this does seem to be dragging out longer than is really warranted. I guess we'd like to see a bit more sense of urgency from the city on this.
Well, you know, unfortunately, the city is tied up in court and the massive bureaucracy that exists there, and the reality is that people just want that building to come down. It's not safe. It's an eyesore. And we were given assurances by the city and by others that the building would be demolished. And we're still waiting. It's now July 11th. The building is still standing, and we're still talking about it. And, you know, I'm going to make another pass this week. I know that Mike Miller has done a very good job on this issue, quite frankly, and he has really taken the lead on it. But I'm going to reach out to HPD and buildings again to see where we're at. But the fact that we're in court, I think that the building owner knows that, and I think he's just trying to buy some time. That's my suspicion. It's not the opinion of the city or of anybody else. It's just my suspicion that I have. The reality is, like you said, we're still dealing with it, and it's frustrating, and it needs to come down. It's not safe. And, you know, in the interim, the talking about affecting other issues, the senior center cannot move back into the ambulance corps in the meantime because of the adjacent building and the issues that exist there, the hazards that are there. And that's affecting their ability to be sustainable because the Woodhaven Ambulance Corps is a wonderful, wonderful organization that we cannot let go under because of financial reasons, because of some knucklehead that they happen to be located next to.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we're hoping to see Department of Buildings back at our next meeting. At the last meeting, they basically talked about how this was being handled this time, and you know, I think I have to go back and check what the exact wording was, but basically it was like, if I come here next month and they haven't met their milestones and it hasn't been torn down yet, then I'll speak out against it. So we're going to hold them to that, and we hope that we hope to see this thing. Listen, here's the thing. I wouldn't expect Department of Buildings or DHP or any of the judge for that matter to sign off and say, you know what, go ahead and have your meeting in the ambulance corps building. It's totally safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just everyone knows it's not safe to be in that building next door. So when you've got one building, that's threatening another building, it just seems definitely a very unfair circumstance. So.
Well, I think safety is everyone's concern at this point, except for the building owner. I mean, if he was really concerned and shared our concerns about safety in the community, then he'd knock his building down. He doesn't need the city to force him to do it. He can get a demolition permit tomorrow on his own. He can have an architect go down to the buildings department Monday morning, get a permit within 24, 48 hours, especially if he goes through the hub, and the bulldozer can go there and knock the darn thing down, but he doesn't want to. I think he's just trying to delay, and I have a problem with that. But in the meantime, that's what we're all dealing with. Hey, before I forget to, DOT is doing paving on Woodhaven Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
This is not paid for by the participatory budget money. So the $400,000 or $500,000 that we put in will only supplement that. No, it's not included in that money. This is coming out of DOT's budget directly, and so that's a good thing, because that means that the money that we did put in, that you were helpful in getting, will be used for other streets in Woodhaven and for the rest of Woodhaven Boulevard, whatever they don't do after this. So we're really, really happy about that. I wish, in fact, they had told me that they were doing this several months ago, because maybe we could have been a bit more liberal with the language so that we wouldn't restrict the money. But we put several $100,000 in for street resurfacing, and, I see that they've started on Park Lane South. They've started on many streets. They're on Woodhaven Boulevard now. When we're repaving streets, when we're cleaning up graffiti, when we're picking up garbage, when we're replacing lights, when we're funding the schools and the senior centers and the libraries, we're making Woodhaven a better place to live. And we're only able to do that if we work together.
Fantastic. All right, listen, Eric, want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Always a pleasure talking to you. And
Ed, thank you, and God bless you, and God bless our troops. Thank you for having me.
All right, brother. Be well.
Bye-bye now.
That's our Councilman Eric Ulrich, who calling in to.